Hey everyone, my name is David Rao, and I'm the music teacher who blogs at makemomentsmatter.org. You can also find my ideas on Facebook, on Instagram, on Patreon, and a variety of places when you search for my name, David Rao, or Make Moments Matter. So I'm really excited to share some fun stuff that's been happening tonight. My main lesson objective thing I'm going to share about is how you can expand a nursery rhyme, how you can do a lot with a nursery rhyme. With primary grades, I'm going to talk a little bit about that, how I start that lesson, where it progresses, and what our ultimate goal is, or what an ultimate goal might be, what you can do with that lesson if you take it and add and adapt and change. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about how I introduce the poem Wee Willie Winkie with my kindergartners, what I do to encourage them along the way to learn some of that weird archaic vocabulary, to talk a little bit about it pre-improvisation, how we can change the poem and do some things along the way, and then how we're going to take it to pitch percussion instruments. Okay, that's coming in just a second, so stay tuned for that. So a couple quick things if you hear me talk about a resource, an idea, something you're interested in this video. I probably have a direct link to it on my links page, which is on my website, makemomentsmatter.org, under the video tab, or you can just click the link at wherever you're watching or listening to this, and hopefully there will be a direct link at the bottom of the caption. Also, if you want to see me in person, not just through your computer or phone or whatever you happen to be accessing this on, I'm going to be in Colorado at Colorado Springs at the Colorado Music Educators Association Conference this Friday, January 31st. I'm doing 3 sessions there. I'm really excited to be coming to Colorado for your state workshop. So if you're in Colorado, please come this Friday. I hope you'll be there and say hi, and we can chat and be a good time. And then next week, I'm going to be in Kentucky at the Kentucky Music Educators Association, doing, I think, 3 sessions. That's on next Thursday on February 6th. I can't wait to be in Kentucky sharing a few ideas. I'm going to be doing an ukulele session, a puppet session. Prepare yourself. And it's going to be a really great time. That's going to be next week on February 6th, so come say hi. Also looking ahead, because I know that Valentine's Day is coming way faster than I realized at first. Because I like to think ahead a little bit, I have put all my Valentine's Day resources that are on Teachers Pay Teachers, I put them all on sale today and tomorrow. So that's I can only do 2 days at a time with TPT for sale. So today, the 27th of January, tomorrow, the 28th, all that stuff is 20% off if you want to look for Valentine's Day stuff. For example, I wanted a new bulletin board, and so I was like, I got to make something else. I've used all these things before at the school. I'm just like bored. What can I do? So I made a new bulletin board set, and it's called, it's maybe a little bit David Rao ridiculous, but it's called What is a Love Song? So there are a couple pages like, what is a love song? Like, what does that mean, love song? It's a song about romantic love or falling in love or heartbreak or blah, blah, blah. It gives a little definition. There are some fun facts about love songs. Like, for example, if the Beatles used the word love in a song title, it was destined to be a hit because a fifth of their 20 Billboard #1 hits had love in the title. Love Me Do, She Loves Me, Can't Buy Me Love, All You Need Is Love. Fun facts like that, about not just about the Beatles. There are a bunch of other things. So there are like several slides about that. They're like 27 or 28 pages total on this thing. There's a set of 4 or 5 finish the lyric about this love song. So for example, Romeo, take me somewhere we can be alone. I'll be waiting. All there's left to do is run. You'll be the prince and I'll be the princess. It's a blank. Baby, just say it. Love story, obviously, right? I just didn't know to sing it because, I didn't want Taylor Swift's AI to be combing through these videos and like ping my video. But anyway, and then there's a little a quote about, or a little fact about Taylor Swift. Is Taylor Swift the queen of love songs? It's estimated 70-80% of her songs are about love, relationships, or breakups. It's a lot. Okay, so there are 4 or 5 of these like finish the love song quote. Then, okay, this is maybe my favorite part. I have some famous musicians, and then which love song am I famous for? So Celine Dion, I'll Stand By You, My Heart Will Go On, Have I Told You Lately, or Just the Way You Are? Okay, which one is it? I hope you know. Elvis Presley, is he known for My Girl, Have I Told You Lately, Love Me Tender, or Just the Way You Are? Okay, but that's on both. It's a good song. So I would honestly print these out and cut them in half so I can have all these little half pages around. And then, in case kids want to check, I do have a answers page. Okay, so in this one bulletin board set, there's like the facts about love songs. There's like a list of some famous love songs you might know, famous breakup songs you might know. And then I have like the finish the love song lyric, and then like the famous love song singer sort of stuff. It's hilarious. I'm very excited about it. But anyway, all the Valentine's Day stuff. I know it's a little early, but not really. All the Valentine's Day stuff is 20% off if you're interested. There's a link to that on my links page, but it's just my TPT store. Okay. All right. So something I'm very excited about that happened so recently. So I have forever and always been stressed out about ordering recorders because I hate ordering recorders. It's always like so much. How many kids need a recorder? Do you have one at home? What can I get? No. Oh yeah, you got this random other one that you found on the internet. Great. Okay. So, and then not just ordering recorders, but like, what color are you getting? And like, like what, all these different things about ordering. It's always stressed me out. What resource they need? Do they need an extra? Blah, blah, blah. And then they start bringing the money and they want to bring in like, a bag of nickels, and one kid has a check and one kid brings in too much money and like all this stuff. And recently parents have always been like, hey, so can I pay online? And I'm like, no, our district doesn't offer an online payment portal. Like, I really wish you could. And they're like, can I just Venmo you directly? And I was like, no, you definitely can't do that. So anyway, it stressed me out. Well, there's a service through a company called Sweet Pipes. You might be familiar because if you've taken ORF levels, they have all these books that you probably have had to play out of. So all these books are published by a company called Sweet Pipes, but they don't just publish books. They also sell children's books, musical instruments, publish different works, publish books, teachers' books, all sorts of stuff. You see them at a lot of major conventions. And anyway, so Sweet Pipes has this really cool thing that I decided to try for the first time, where you email them and you say, I want to set up a direct school order. And they take all your information, what's your school, what's your blah, 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 all the things. And then you go on their website and they say like, which items do you want your students to purchase? So I went in and found like the 4 recorders that I wanted my kids to purchase. Like you can it's one recorder, but you can either get it in ivory or blue or green or pink. It's the Yamaha basic YRS 24 or 20 series, whatever it is. And so I chose a recorder, chose a neck strap they could get, a bag they can get. They have an option for if you want to donate a recorder. Okay, parents can do that if they want. You can list required items like the recorder, the bag, and the neck strap, and then you can give optional items if you want. Like if you also want to get a book or you want to get a whatever, like you can put all that in. Parents then, so like once I tell Sweet Pipes that, Sweet Pipes, they set up a spot on their website that says school recorder orders. And there's a drop-down box and it said my school name, Prairie Ridge Elementary. And parents just click it, they go in, they, get, one blue recorder and a neck strap. I'm going to get the pink neck strap and a bag. Okay. And I'm going to buy an optional, whatever. They go through, they pay for all of it. It's all a secure portal. I don't ever touch the money. And so Sweet Pipe sets that up. So it's just the things that I want them to order. Sweet Pipes makes a letter for me to send out saying like, hey, here's how you do it. Here are the problems. If you have issues, call this number, blah, blah, blah. And so then once it's live, I send out this link and this letter to parents, and they go on and they buy the stuff directly from Sweet Pipes. However, it doesn't ship to their home. It all ships in one mass order to my school. The day after the cutoff for ordering, they just pack it all up and they ship it to my school. And then I disseminate it to kids, or I keep it in the classroom, or whatever my policy is at my school. I know some people are like, the parents buy it, but we keep it at school, or the parents buy it, we send them home, or, whatever it is you do. All of it just comes straight there. So today there was this huge box on my secretary's desk. She's like, it's the recorders, but like, I need like this shipping list or whatever. I was like, actually, no, you don't, because none of the money came through our school account. And she was like, right, you told me about this. When I told my secretary and my principal, they were like, do it, try it. We'll see if it works. So, because I know my secretary is like sick of 35 checks and, a bunch of cash and a bunch of random coins. Someone's, turning in like gold $1 coins and all these weird things. Somebody sent in $50, like all the weird, silly stuff. So it was so easy. Parents just went online, they ordered, and it all has come to me now. And I'm so excited about it because I didn't have to touch any of the money, and it all just was so easy. And they sent an email to me saying, like, here are all the people who have ordered. At any point in that process when the ordering was open, I could have emailed them and said, like, hey, who can you send me a list of who's ordered in case I need to like go track down some kid or some parent to remind them you need to go order. It was just so easy. Now, if you go to their website now, you're not going to find my school's name, because once the cutoff happens, like, parents can no longer order from the website, because it's like once the cutoff is there, then they take my name off the website, my school's name off the website, and they ship everything out. So if I wanted parents to be able to buy more, I'd have to like write Sweet Pipes back and be like, hey, can we do another order or whatever. But it was just so simple and so easy. I don't have to see any of the money. The parents get an automatic receipt because it's through their like, shop portal, whatever. So it made it easy for parents. It made it so easy for me. And all the stuff came, and it was like so simple. And because we ordered like so much, I can't remember how much you had to order. It was free shipping. Anyway, it was so fabulous. I'm going to write about it on my blog because it just made Recorder so easy, made it so easy. And I know that parents aren't accidentally buying the wrong thing, because I chose from the website this specific item, put this in our option for what available thing. It's wonderful. So anyway, if you have questions about it, send me a direct message. Email me, makemomentsmatter@gmail.com, and I will tell you all about it and how it worked at my school. I also, on the links page today, I put a link to a description on the Sweet Pipes website, but go check it out. It made Recorder ordering so easy. Okay, I can't say enough about how happy I am about it. Okay, so more to come on that. If you have questions, or I'll let you know if we have any issues or anything along the way ordering from Sweet Pipes. So I just had to talk about that because it's my secretary was like so happy. She's like, oh my gosh, you mean I don't have to like sift through a bunch of random coins and checks and whatever? And anyway, it's very excited. Okay. Nursery rhymes. So I'm going to talk about how like I introduce the poem, some of the things I do with it. What do we do to talk about improvisation? How do we get it on pitched instruments? All with kindergarten. You could do it with kindergarten or first. It depends on what you want to do. So I'm going to talk specifically about the poem Wee Willie Winkie, although there are some other poems you could do this with if you're interested. It just depends on what poem you want to teach. So the poem Wee Willie Winkie, in case you don't know, it goes like this. Wee Willie Winkie runs through the town, upstairs, downstairs, in his nightgown, rapping at the window, crying at the lock, all the children in their beds, for it's 8 o'clock. Okay, so that's like the traditional version I learned. I teach it slightly differently with my kids, but mostly the same. So with kids, I teach this as a story. Instead of just like telling them the poem, I say, oh, there was okay, actually, I'm really embarrassed to say. Oh, there was a little boy, and this little boy lived in another country. And in this country, they spoke English, but they spoke a little bit different. And I like go into this like weird pseudo accent where I like tell the story in this like odd, like off Celtic sort of Irish, whatever accent. But I talk about how they have an accent there. They say things a little bit different. Instead of saying small, they say wee. Instead of saying mom, they say mum. Instead of, a couple different things that are a little bit different, but it is English, but it's a little bit different. And so then we talk about this little boy and how he wanted to stay up, and his mom said, no, you have to go to bed. And he's like, but I want to play. No, you got to go to bed. But I want to have a snack. No, you got to go to bed. But I want to read. No, you got to go to bed. And so eventually she cooks him to bed. He goes to sleep. And then the second she turns out the light, he walks over to the window, climbs out the window. He lives on the ground floor. And he runs to his friend's house, and he gets to his friend's house, and he goes, Daniel, come out to play. It's me. It's Willie. Daniel. And he yells, and the kids are like so excited about how hilarious this kid is. Run away, and he wants to go play with his friends. But Daniel doesn't wake up. Daniel doesn't come out, because guess what Daniel's doing? It's 8 o'clock. He's in bed. All kids need to be in bed by 8 o'clock. He's asleep. Okay, so anyway, so Daniel doesn't come out, so Willie goes, So he runs over to his other friend's house who lives in the apartments, Siobhan, and he runs up the stairs, and he goes to the door, but the door's locked. Siobhan! And he yells, and he tries to say, it's Willie! It's me! It's Willie! But guess what? She doesn't come out to play, because she's asleep in bed. It's 8 o'clock. All the kids need to be in bed. It's 8 o'clock. So then he runs down the stairs, and he runs over to his other friend's house, and he, Daniel! And he tries to wake up Danny. He's knocking at the door. Why is the door locked? And he's trying to get in, and he can't get in. And he goes, Daniel, come out to play. It's Billy. And he said, anyway, so finally he goes home. He's frustrated. He gets home. And he climbs through the window. He closed the window. He climbs over to bed. He pulls his covers over and goes, I'll try again tomorrow night. And that's when he hears click. And the light switch has turned on. And it says, Mom at the door. Oh, hello, Mom. Willie, where have you been? Oh, I've been here asleep in bed. No, you've not, Willie. Where have you been? I must have been sleepwalking. No, you've not. And so she calls him out. And he's like, but Mom, how did you know? Because Daniel's mom and Patrick's mom and Siobhan's mom, they've all called me, said Willie's at our door, banging at the window, crying at the lock. And he's trying to get in and say they need to go play, but it's 8 o'clock. He needs to go to bed. Oh, you're in big trouble, Willie. So I teach it as a story because there's some things in the poem that don't make sense to a kindergartner, right? So rapping at the window, crying at the lock. Those words in context, when you teach it as a story, who's rapping at the window, oh, that's one of the things that I say differently, because when he's doing this, what is he doing? He's knocking, okay? And he's crying at the lock, but he's not crying, he's yelling, right? So it's a little different. So as I teach it in this story, it irons out some of those things where they're maybe words they don't know, or the context that doesn't quite make sense. So I talk through and do a lot of that in the story, reinforce some of those things that are going to come up. And then I say, because Willie did this thing that he shouldn't have done, and because they wanted to remind all the other kids never to do that, they wrote this poem. And it goes like this. Wee Willie Winkie runs through the town, upstairs, downstairs, in his nightgown. Okay, that's another thing we talked about. He didn't put on his PJs. He put on a nightgown. What is a nightgown? Yada, yada, yada. Rapping at the window, crying at the lock. All the children are in bed because it's 8 o'clock. Now that's not the original. The original is all the children in their beds for it's 8 o'clock. But for my kids, that gets a little confusing because all the children in their beds for it's 8. They think 4 is in the number 4 as instead of because. So I say all the children are in bed because it's 8 o'clock. It doesn't alter the poem all that much. It's not a big deal, but it helps iron out and explain some of those things. Okay. Then we learn it as a finger play. And a finger play is when you have your hands and fingers act out the story. So, Wee Willie Winkie runs through the town. I said, if you're going to make your fingers do a skip, what would that look like? How about tiptoe through the town? How about hop through the town? That's 1 foot. How about jump through the town? Okay, that's 2 feet. So he runs through the town. I just have them do that so that they can see that that's what the fingers are doing. They're running. And it helps remind them of what the thing is that they actually should be remembering. It kind of cements it in their head. Wee Willie Winkie runs through the town, upstairs, downstairs, in his, and the kids are like, nightgown. In his nightgown, yes. And then rapping at the window, crying at the lock. All the children are in bed because it's 8 o'clock. So we could just fall asleep with our head on our hands, or we could tap on our watch. It's whatever you want to do. We do it 2 or 3 times, and then that's the end of that lesson. We come back to it another day, but for that day, that's as much. We tell the story in that sort of longer form, in more of a narrative form, and then we do the poem 2 or 3 times with the finger play actions so they sort of get that process and they remember it as a poem. Okay, so then the next lesson, we come back and I say, oh, do you remember that little boy, Willie? Willie, the one who got out when he shouldn't have gotten out. Ooh, what do you remember about Willie? What did he do? And so we go through, we talk through the poem, we say the poem again as we had learned it. And then I say, okay, but that first part, Wee Willie Winkie runs through the town. What else could he have done? How else could he have moved? And so then we talk about a lot of different ways. He skipped through the town. Wee Willie Winkie skipped through the town. Wee Willie Winkie stomped through the town. And I ask kids to come up with different words. What could we do? What could we do? What could we do? This is teaching kids that I want to hear their different answers. What is an on-task answer that fulfills the question, but that is creative? So what do I mean by that? I mean, I'm teaching kids he doesn't float through the town. That's kind of through the town. How would he float? He doesn't fly through the town. Willie can't fly. He's a boy. He's just a kid, right? He's not a bird. So some of those would be like off-task answers. He explodes through the town. I don't know, something that like your ornery kid would say. But like, so I'm looking for words that fit the assignment, right? That like, what's another movement action he could do through the town? He could run, he could tiptoe, he could hop, he could skip, he could jump, he could march, I don't know. And so we try as many of those as we feel like trying. And our fingers act it out. And then we go upstairs, downstairs, in his nightgown. What else could he maybe have worn out? And then again, we go through like different things. Upstairs, downstairs, in his everyday clothes. Upstairs, downstairs, in his Halloween costume. Upstairs, downstairs, in a school uniform. Like whatever we could come up with. To, again, just a variation to teach them like, I wonder what else we could put in here. You could also change upstairs, downstairs to side. You could do downstairs, upstairs if you invert that pattern. You could do back and forth in his nightgown. You could do all around the town in his nightgown. You could change the action there too if you wanted. Again, just for a variety, but then going back to the original before you leave it. So like we tried all these different things. Okay, what's the original again? Upstairs, downstairs, in his nightgown. Coming up with those options again. And then rapping at the window, crying at the lock. What else could he do at the window? He could tap at the window. He could scratch at the window. He could wave at the window. He could, I don't know, he could look through the window. Like, what else could he do? And then instead of crying at the lock, he could whisper at the lock. He could singing at the lock. So trying different things there. And then the last one is all the children are in bed because you could change the time. You could do all the children are in the pool because you could change where all the children are. But again, at the final time, each of those 4 phrases we play with. At the final time, then we go through and we do the poem again. Mostly I want them to see I want to see what else can you do? What else can you do? What else can you do? This is like preparing them for improvisation later on down the road where we say like, what else could you try? What else could you try? What else could you try? And I want them to know that like, I want to hear your answers. I want to see what you could do. Sometimes a little silly's fine. Yeah. Like what could we do? Oh, could he do that? Could he jump? Could he, whatever. So we try different stuff. But then also it's over and over and over and over. They're feeling that cadence of the poem. Something, something in his nightgown. Something, something in his nightgown. Something, so there's vocal exploration, there's trying, but it's always ending with that in his nightgown or in his school clothes, in his whatever. It reinforces what's happening in the poem. And then before we leave the lesson, we do the original. Wee Willie Winkie runs through the town, upstairs, downstairs, in his nightgown, rapping at the window, crying at the lock. All the children are in bed because it's 8 o'clock. And then maybe a few weeks down the road, we come back to this lesson, only now get out our instruments. So I've got a xylophone here, and Wee Willie Winkie, instead of, let me see if I can set this up on the table. Instead of running through the town, we've got him here on the xylophone. So Wee Willie Winkie runs through the town. What would that look like if you're using a xylophone? And actually, I usually start with fingers. He moves just like the finger play that we did moving through the town. We do it with our fingers. What if he's skipping? What if he's stomping through the town? Right? What if he's falling through the town? Right? What if he's hopping? That's 1 foot. What if he's leaping? So we're taking that finger play that we played around with already before. Now we're just doing it on an instrument. Upstairs, downstairs. What sounds like upstairs? Let's see. Because they're going to want to do a slide anyway. Which one sounds more like upstairs? That or... Yeah, and so we play around with that. Upstairs, downstairs, in his nightgown. And then rapping at the window. You could do your fingers here. What if you did it here? On the side of the instrument, on like the box, like not the musical part, not these bars, but like somewhere else. Where else could you do it? Right? So you play around with that. And then all the children are in bed because it's 8 o'clock. Let's tap 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, they love that. Then eventually, after doing it several times with fingers, we move to mallets. Now, if you're at this stage where you want to try it with kids, I love putting 2 kids on an instrument, 1 on each side, because right now, being on the right side where letters are facing up does not really matter. We're using it as a vehicle for exploration. We're not using it as like, oh, we're going to play this song or whatever. So it doesn't matter if they're on the right side or the not right side, right? Like it just oh gosh. Sorry, I don't know if you saw that, but I did a thumbs up and apparently, yeah, on Facebook it a thumbs up bubble. I hate when it does that. Sorry. Anyway, so so we're just using this as like an instrument for exploration. You don't need to worry about whether they're on the right side or not. But this means that I can put one person here and one person here, and the 2 kids can share the instrument on both sides of the instrument. And so if you don't have enough for one for each kid or whatever, or even if you just want them to work in pairs, this is an easy way to do that. So they do all that stuff with finger play, with their fingers trying and exploring, and then eventually we'll get a mallet. And the mallet version would be the same sort of exploration and play, only now with the mallet on the head. So wee Willie Winky runs through the town, upstairs, downstairs, in his nightgown. And this one I have them hold up like, here's Willie. Oh my gosh, look, he's wearing his nightgown. How embarrassing. He's wearing that out on the town. What? Okay, so he's just holding up a mallet. It's not, I don't know. And when a kid's like, he's naked, I'm like, no, he's not. Can you see his nightgown? Oh my gosh, do you not see it? Because kids always like push that silly, oh, baby's naked mallet. I don't know why. Every time it happens. Okay, so, and then rapping at the window. So now instead of playing on a bar, we're going to find another spot with our mallet to tap. But now that we're using our mallet, we don't want to hit too hard because these mallets, we don't want them to break. So you're just finding a nice place to tap, maybe on the floor, I don't know, or on the box. And then crying at the lock, instead of going like this with my hands and like putting my hands around my mouth to like make my voice go for I'm going to put the mallets there. Crying at the lock. So that it's like I'm putting my hands around my mouth to make my voice louder, but I'm just doing mallets. And then all the children are in bed. You can either have them put the mallets to sleep on the bars. I teach this because then usually at the end of the lesson, kids will count on fingers then to 8, or they'll tap somewhere with their finger for 8. But then I have them put the mallet to sleep on the bars like Willie's going to sleep, because then they, at the end of the poem, they don't have a mallet in their hand that they can play with, that they can just bang around and make sound with. So at the very end of the poem, we go, all the children are in bed because it's 8 o'clock. 1, 2, 3. So they then would tap on a bar that's unobstructed, right? So it starts with teaching the poem as a narrative, really helping them understand some of those words, key concepts, archaic vocabulary. Then we play, in another lesson, we play around. What else could he do? What else could he runs, he skips, he does whatever. And then eventually in another lesson, we'll bring it back and do that exploring again, but now just with a pitch percussion instrument. Eventually with mallets. You don't even have to do the stage with mallets, but why not, right? And so it's fun to get to try this poem in a variety of different ways. When I first started teaching elementary music, I was like, these nursery rhymes are cool, but they last like 10 seconds. Then what do you do with them? Well, this is something you could do with it. You can take it, you can expand upon it, you can add to it, you can explore with it. There's so much fun stuff you can do with pitch percussion, with nursery rhymes that can either lead you to instruments or not. This doesn't even have to be where you go with it. It's just a possible option. It's not the option. It's a possible option if you want. Okay, I hope this gave you some ideas for nursery rhymes. You don't have to do this just with Wee Willie Winky. Other nursery rhymes that this is so easy to do with, or like Jack Be Nimble, Jack Be Quick, or Jack and Jill Went Up the Hill. Anything where there's movement or back and forth or language that seems like, oh gosh. Hickory Dickory Dock is another good one, except that one has it's a little bit trickier for kids, but there's so much you can pull out and do with that. So I would say find a nursery rhyme you really like, explore and see what kids can do. If you want to do Wee Willie Winky, cool. If you want to do another one, cool. But try it out, see if that works for you. Okay, like I said at the beginning of the video, a couple fun things. If you're going to be at Colorado Music Educators this Friday, January 31st, or Kentucky Music Educators next week, February 6th, I'd love to see you. I'm going to be there in person for a short time in Kentucky, for a slightly longer time in Colorado. So if you see me, come say hi. I'd love to meet real people in person and not just talk to you through my computer. And if you want to jumpstart on Valentine's Day and you want to try something like what is a love song bulletin board, all my Valentine's Day stuff is 20% off today, the 27th, and tomorrow, the 28th. Because TPT only lets me do up to 20% off and only for 2 days. I don't know why. It's how they do it. So anyway, check that out if you're interested. I hope that gives you sort of a jump start into Valentine's Day if you want. And if you liked this nursery rhyme instrument lesson, come find me on Patreon. I have a lot more stuff and I'm adding more stuff all the time with lessons just like this where you can see the extension, you get a written lesson plan to go with it, lots of plans and lots of options for fun exploring. Okay, that's enough for tonight. Thanks for coming along with me tonight, everyone. I hope you have a great week, and I hope I'll see many of you in person in Colorado or Kentucky or at other workshops coming up. And if not, I hope I'll see you next week for another Musical Mondays video. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great night.